Let's be honest. Gen Z, in many cases, they're shitty employees.
If you are the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room.
I made so many mistakes that at one point I was like, everything's gonna collapse.
On a global scale, the demand for traditional education is declining. Network was the only thing I gained in my master's degree.
It's completely okay to overthink. You're not insane,
It's the perspective of how an employee thinks and how an employer thinks.
Whatever my brain tells me, I know that it's actually doable. But if people don't have this personal experience, then their brain is just telling that it happens with someone else, but it's never gonna happen with me.
Kamerjuba, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Entrepreneur's Diary, episode number 4 with Valery and Gegidze from Georgia. Today, I have a guest, my good friend from Estonia, Ingmar Casser. Ingmar, tere.
Tere, yeah.
Thanks for coming, man.
Kamerjuba. Yeah, it's really nice to be here.
Thanks for taking time. So, just a short background about Ingmar. We know each other already 3 years.
Almost
30,
yeah.
Okay. But we met years ago at Latitude.
Yeah.
And I was pitching you our outsourcing services.
Yeah.
But we ended up good friends. Maybe you can just tell from your side.
Well, yeah, my personal opinion is people first and business second.
Yeah.
So I really felt that that doesn't matter if we do business or not, we still can share our experience. And we ended up here in this beautiful office of Little Jungle, so... Yeah.
I would love to hear your opinion about Georgia as an entrepreneur, as an Estonian. What do you think?
So, to be honest, I didn't know anything about not even Georgia, but even the all Caucasus region.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about that.
Okay.
So when I just, was a bit overworked in autumn, and then when you invited me to this jungle co-working opening party, I was like, yeah, sure. And I didn't have any expectations. I was pleasantly surprised that, doing business in Nordics, you have to be really, really focused all the time.
Yeah.
And it's okay. That's how they live there. But here, I can even sometimes get better results when enjoying life at the same time. This food, this wine, this weather, and I'm just relaxed, and my employees and my clients can also feel that I'm more relaxed.
Yeah.
And then results are good.
And one more important thing, in Georgia, love is in the air.
It is.
Yeah.
In Estonia, it's sometimes frozen.
You need to adjust temperature a little bit.
Yeah, so I can bring this temperature to Estonia also.
We are super happy to share. It really warms my heart what you're saying about Georgia, really, because I feel the same way when I come to Estonia, and that's most probably because of the people who surround you. To our friendship. So, you are one of the smartest guys I know, really, and you are an entrepreneur with a lot of experience. You run quite successful agency, doing a lot of different projects and testing new ones, which you shared.
It's funny, everything started with a band. So when I played in a rock band already in high school, then in my 20s I also was involved in arts and theater and some acting, and I tried to bring this approach to business.
Yeah.
It's like cool vibe first, and then we can build and manage the business on top of that. Of course, it's not always working.
Yeah.
So, and of course, I'm not always successful because in some areas in business, you have to go Excel sheet first and all the other things second. But because I don't have this approach, then actually I've also, failed with some projects, and I admit that. And also I've failed with some employees and co-founders because many people don't have this approach. So now when I'm a little bit older, then it's like I'm again going back to my past, and like I have to choose who are these guys that I want to play in my band. Like who are these guys who have this special feeling, And I think like now I'm learning how to say by past mistakes.
Yeah.
So and again, I'm choosing new people for the new band. So it's like constantly evolving. So that's my approach to life, to friends, to businesses. Like to have this good vibe first.
I love that approach. We have talked about it God knows how many times.
Yeah.
I think we should also share it with our listeners that the approach and the mindset to the life is really important, the vision, right? And I love when you talk about the business like running a band or playing in a band. For me, it's playing a game, right? But the mindset is the same. You choose proper people who you like and who actually fit in there, not just hiring someone.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel something similar here.
Yeah.
So you kind of have also a band,
Yeah.
but we are just playing a little bit different music.
Yeah, those different servers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the core. That's what excites you, and that gives you a non-stop energy and fuel to move forward. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ingmar, tell me from your perspective, what's the difference between Georgian entrepreneurship and Estonian one?
Well, how to say? So to be honest, I haven't done actual business here.
Yeah.
I'm just running my ventures remotely because I like your co-working space.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what I see, people actually can work really long hours in a really humble way.
Yeah.
And it's the good results are here, and the tech community is not that big here.
Yeah.
As it is quite often in business and in successful companies and globally successful companies, when I read the history of the companies, then let's say that first 20 people or even 10 people are making the core values or the future values of the big successful company. So even if the tech scene is small here in Georgia, then this that I see here in Jungle. So let's say in 10 years, this is the foundation that your guys are building here. And I really like that, because in Tallinn, I feel quite often that, if you say that sky is the limit, yeah, of course I agree with that. But Estonia kind of reached that sky already, because already during the 90s, the government decided that, hey, let's be digital first.
Yeah.
And, all this success after Skype was mostly done in Estonia, and all the future unicorns were based on the success and knowledge of building Skype.
Yeah.
So I really hope, and I'm sure actually, that I can see something similar here. Yeah.
I really appreciate you saying that, really, because there's positive feedback from entrepreneurs like you with the experience that you have and from the country of Estonia. It matters a lot, because you've seen whatever is going now in Georgia and years ago in Estonia, right? So it's not just an imagination or a fantasy, but a reality which already happened in Estonia, and Georgia is here to come.
And another important thing is that quite many ideas that eventually became unicorn ideas in Estonia, the ideas weren't placed, or the seed of the idea weren't placed in Estonia.
Yeah.
So some people were in Silicon Valley, some people were in London, Singapore. So I'm really glad that you are also doing soon this trip to New York, and your friends are doing global business, and then they can bring all these ideas back here to Georgia.
Yeah.
And then build something beautiful out of that. Yeah.
I think that's the only way. And then the example for us is Estonia, because when you are on the market, which is super small, in order to, build this quite a big business, the only thing that stays is to export. And, if you look at Europe, you have a lot of diversified markets, really local and authentic in a way, and it's really hard to get there. And then, let's say you also have a US market, which is around 300 million people.
Yeah.
speaking same language, sharing same culture. So it's obvious thing for us to do. And people like you, me, Nodo, Zura, and other entrepreneurs that we have in this community, that's what we're trying to do. We build new bridges, build trust across international tech community, because that's the only way in order to grow this country.
Yeah. That's beautiful to see how the infrastructure is evolving, and then all the different dots are slowly connecting here. Yeah. So
let's continue the discussion about the entrepreneurship. And I think really important topic which people are always struggling, especially employees, people who are building the career, it's the perspective of how an employee thinks and how an employer thinks. So maybe you could share your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I have thought a lot about that, and I don't have precise answer, because it's also quite different if you are in your 20s or in your 30s or you're in your 40s. Like, people are different and people have different values. So if you have a lot of these Gen Z employees here that I see. So I have struggled a lot with Gen Z employees, so maybe there is a difference also here in Georgia and in Europe, or I'm not sure. But what I've seen is that if you have Gen Z as an employee, it's really difficult to have it more than 1 year in Estonia.
Okay.
Because they are just really open-minded. They want to travel, they find partners in new countries, they want to change the job. So if you can have Gen Z 1 year, it's also already good result.
Okay.
2 years, almost never. It's really rare, at least in my experience. So this is one way. So if I think people in their 30s, they are more conservative, so they can stay many years. But especially, late 30s, early 40s, these people, I think the main problem is that they really remember Soviet time. So I'm born in 1982, and first 10 years of my life, the red flag was, up there. And people are really scared, to take a risk, because this experience is in their past. People didn't have any money during the 90s. People were struggling. Their parents were struggling. So quite often I see, if I look my friends who are also like entrepreneurs, then one of their parents also has been entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So, for example, my father was also, I wasn't involved in father's business, but I saw how my father went from zero to really, really far.
Okay.
To global. And because I have this experience, then I see that whatever my brain tells me, I know from personal experience that it's actually doable.
Yeah.
But if people don't have this personal experience, then their brain is just telling that, it happens with someone else, but it's never going to happen with me. And it's quite difficult to change this mindset because, people have kids, they have apartments, they have to pay their bank loans. Yeah. And it's really risky to take this leap of faith that, maybe I'm the one who's going to be this 2% of the successful company. So, but how it's here in Georgia, how do you see it?
I think it's quite the same. And I agree on the topic of difference in the ages, because I think employment and entrepreneurship, it also evolves the way the market evolves, right? Because let's say entrepreneurs of previous decade, they were different from us, and employees in the 30s and the 40s, they're also different compared to Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
But I strongly believe that it's an evolution, and the next generation understands more than the previous one. So if we will judge from understanding of Gen Z, how they look at the world, it's more relaxed because they don't have that much strings attached to the liabilities of their parents. So they want to make freer decisions. And to entrepreneurs and employers, it should be a message to adapt to that. And what I've learned, and what if I compare to my career when I was working in a Red Bull and fintech companies, in many other companies as local as international, there you were doing really small part in a big factory and nobody really cared. And you didn't really serve a higher mission. But what we do here is we communicate the global long-term vision, and this, if the people are interested, then they just follow you. And that's what excites me in the game, that I always tell to our team members where we're going to, that we're changing lives of Georgians and other Caucasus countries to better, because we're building bridges between Europe and Georgia and building trust. And it actually changes a lot in economics, in local families, in work culture. And it also helps me to understand my purpose and the destiny, what I'm serving, because you don't do business just to earn money. It's inevitable if you do a good job, right? Whatever you do. But it's about serving a higher mission, which we call vision, right?
Yeah. What I have experienced, and also when I compare it now, the things that I see here, is that I believe that at this moment of history, there is easier to build vision in Caucasus than, for example, in Estonia. So Estonia really tries to be a Nordic, but and I also thought that we kind of are. But last winter I was working in Copenhagen, and then I really realized that we are not actually Nordic. And then again, when coming back to this Gen Z, what I really admire in Gen Z in Estonia, that when I see when they are, well, let's be honest, Gen Z Estonia, in many cases, they're shitty employees, but they are really open-minded entrepreneurs. So if I go to tech conferences and I see these guys in their early 20s or late 20s that are actually raising millions from VCs, then I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. I haven't done these things in my 40s, in my 30s, than these guys are doing in their 20s. Like, how are you guys doing that? And they're thinking so fast, so abstract, that it takes me a lot of energy to keep up with these guys. So well, that's the situation.
That's really interesting view. One thing that I noticed, yes, Gen Z has a broader vision. They have access to way more resources than we had. Like, they have internet from straight away from the very beginning. I had like my first real internet connection when I was like, I don't know, 12, 13, like when I actually started to use it.
Well, I started to use internet in high school.
So that's more or less the same here. And you quickly adapt to the good resources that the world provides to you. But then it's also stressful situations. And I have a brother, he's 19 now, but when I give him a task or ask him to do something, whenever he sees the challenges, he just avoids them, which is a strategy. But the way we were raised is, I see a goal, I see no boundaries, so you go through the wall. So you have this, desire, passion, and balls to just do it, whatever it takes. And if I compare like my generation and maybe Gen Z in a really stressful one, I think my experience will work better because I've gone through no gas, no electricity, no food, wars, and quite a shitty times, right? And these guys, they just don't do it. In the same way, if I compare my experience to my previous generation experience, that was hardcore, right? Because they didn't have anything.
Well, they were wearing guns in the 90s
Right.
to do business.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, this is crazy. Yeah.
But so this clash of generations, which eventually, let's be honest, it's getting better. I mean, we should learn from our previous experience of our generations and just adapt to new resources. So that's the globalization.
Yeah.
And I hope that we'll manage to find a more conversational tone with our next generation than our parents did with our generation.
Well, yeah, when our kids are starting to make business, then it's like, what's that?
Oh my God, what is this? It's
Yeah.
like Web 5?
Yeah. Like GPT-10, you're using that?
It's old-fashioned. So what would be your recommendation to, people who just start business anywhere in the world? What are your top 3 learnings from your experience?
Kick through in the beginning was to be like naive and arrogant. And it really helps like first, maybe let's say first years or even first 5 years. Then you just, you do things that you actually don't know how to do, and you're just constantly failing and you're just constantly doing.
Yeah.
But at some point, it doesn't work anymore because, especially now when, market is going down globally. So if you do more mistakes than good decision, then you can go bankrupt. So this is also the truth. So how to combine this naive, arrogant, optimistic vibe, but at the same time, do a lot of right decisions.
Yeah.
You can always do wrong decisions, but it can be at least, maybe 55% right decisions.
Okay.
So, I mean, hopefully more. But yeah, so it's like, I mean, constant learning is needed. So one mistake that I did that, let's say when I experienced my first kind of success in a way, then at one point I stopped learning new things. And I think it was like kind of maybe 1 year period of kind of arrogant approach that, I was always failing and then I was a bit successful and then, I was like, oh yeah, I know everything. And then, I made so many mistakes that at one point I was like, oh shit, everything's gonna collapse. And then I started to learn again.
Yeah.
And then I kind of fixed things. So yeah, it's just constant learning, whatever others are telling you, but you still, even if you're doing super good, you have to always learn. Yeah.
Really well said. I mean, I also had these periods in my life, especially when I was, building career, not the entrepreneurial path. When I was getting promoted and getting paid higher in the sales roles, I was like, okay, I've nailed it. And then the moment you think that you're on top,
the moment you're actually already falling.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm already falling, but I'm still thinking that I'm actually flying. I mean, I am flying, but just down.
wrong direction. Gravity is walking.
Yeah.
The path to success is not fails and wins, but it's like together, it's inevitable part. It just comes one after another. So people mostly say either I fail or I win, but it's actually the same.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And it's like yin and yang, right? So it's just one comes after another, and there could be several losses, but then you eventually should win and learn from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a constant cycle,
Never give up.
Yeah, okay, never give up.
I'm into that.
Yes, yeah.
What would you do if you have free cash of 1 million today? Euros.
Well, I mean,
you can do whatever you want. You're free to choose.
I think I would put half of that to experimental projects, to really keep up with AI, Web3, all this bleeding edge technology, and this kind of high risk, high reward, but not investing, more like prototyping.
Okay.
And then the other half, I think, more like conservative approach.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, I always wanted to have 911 Porsche, so probably I would do a small gift to myself.
Okay, that's cool.
So yeah.
I admire your choice of, gifting something to yourself, because what I realized on this path of, growing your business, that sometimes we just forget that we should appreciate what we have and just, give small gifts to ourselves, because this life is so short. And if you want a Porsche, go buy a Porsche.
Yeah.
If you want to, I don't know, crazy ass party in Miami, go and have it, right? And whatever makes you happy, just it should be, joyful and bring something, not just kill you.
Yeah. So for the happiness. Also.
For the happiness, man.
Yeah.
So every time I give to our guests 1 million, but nobody invites me to anywhere. Nobody said, okay, I'm gonna give you, I don't know, 100,000. Where's my cut, man? I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, let's have this private jet ride,
Cashback.
If overthinkers are listening at the moment to show, then I would really openly say that you're not insane. It's completely okay to overthink. And, like I previously said, these Gen Zs are really fast. And actually, this is one of the reasons, because they are like really fast thinkers. And yeah, I agree with that sometimes they think and think and think and build, and then they don't take this final step of execution. That's why you have advisors in your company. Also, if you are a bunch of Gen Zs running a company, take some advisors. I mean, take us. And
really smart advice.
Yeah. So and we all gonna win from that.
Yeah.
So because I don't have all these crazy ideas anymore. I mean, I have crazy ideas, but I always want to have more and share my experience. And I think it's like a really good balance. This more mature, old school entrepreneurs with maybe like a little bit bigger balls, and then this crazy Gen Z who they want to avoid problems, but if we can mix these two things, then it's a really beautiful result.
I agree.
So, yeah,
I agree. That's really well said. So when money and experience meet each other, experience takes all the money, and money learns from experience. So that's why you should always ask experienced people. And that's why I also pay advisors to share their experience with me, because I haven't done all the things in business which I could do for my life, right? So the same way, if you don't know something and you're a Gen Z, definitely you should hire someone who has gone
well,
through
yeah,
this path.
exactly. And that's I've always constantly looking for mentors myself. So I can already mentor a little bit someone, but I also need mentors. Right. So it's like never-ending learning. Yeah,
and I think you should always search for this right room with smart people, because if you are the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think really important thing is your education is not only university, because it comes from everywhere and it's accessible. It's free, basically.
Yeah.
You just need to pay attention.
True.
The most important education you get from the people you spend the time with. And mostly what I see, people spend a lot of time with their friends discussing business, like childhood friends. And you could be a really good friend in childhood, in school, university, but somehow then it doesn't evolve the same way. And if you meet people and every time you have the same conversation, you must probably change it somehow, because it's getting uninteresting. And let's say every time we meet, we have something to talk about. Every single time, because you grow and I grow and something changes. We have new experiences to share and we learn from each other. In this community, the broader it is, the wiser it is, the more international it is, it helps you better to learn from different experiences, from different ages, from different angles. And I also want to touch base education overall, the system. So on a global scale, the demand for traditional education is declining. Like in the US, it's like declining around 5% a year, as I've seen. Maybe it's a little bit wrong, but somewhere like 3 to 5%. And these people are going to more professional education, going to college, not traditional colleges, but learning from internet and some classes, which means that people are still looking for the ways to learn about more skills rather than just getting a diploma. What do you think about it? Like, what do you think overall about the educational system in the world?
Well, I only have one bachelor, so I'm not that big fan of university. I never did masters.
Okay.
I mean, I know people who have done these degrees, and again, they're really fast thinkers, but at the same time, at one point, they more or less give up.
Yeah.
So I think if you want to go education first, then you can be a scientist.
Yeah.
But and there are some rare creatures who are like scientists and entrepreneurs, but these are like out of space guys. So yeah, usually I still think that this street smart approach is giving like really the best results.
It makes sense. I agree. Well, I did a lot of studies, to be honest. I did a bachelor degree, a master's degree, and then I studied PhD. But while I started, I realized that I didn't fucking need it, because it was just, I was doing it maybe because of parents. As they said that, okay, that would be nice. But the moment I actually realized that I was spending time in something that was not that relevant for me, I just said no. And I did my master's when I was 21.
Well, I mean, but you're also heavily street smart.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is your ground. So you kind of mixed education and the smartness from the streets. So
I was doing my bachelor's and I was working a full-time job in Red Bull and other companies, and it was a good mixture. And what I learned during this time was I was doing this practical work, and then I was going to university. So during the day I was working, and at night I had lessons. And whatever I was taught in university was like, no, it doesn't work this way, nor in logistics, nor in finance, nor in sales. And it's all just theory, which is really well written, but it doesn't work in the real world. What I actually learned in university, in my bachelor's, was how to scrutinize and how to actually reach your goal. If you're not attending classes, but you need a good mark at the end of the semester, how to negotiate with lecturers and everyone involved, all the stakeholders, how to survive. And you learn how to learn the process.
Yeah.
Like, and how to do it fast, like scanning the books. We have been testing before our exams, like we were sleeping, and one was reading aloud so we can hear, like, you're doing all the magic, but it doesn't work. You just need to find the proper ways. And what I learned on my master's degree is that I've learned nothing besides I got to my network. And network was the only thing I gained in my master's degree. All the smart ass people in Georgia, I was lucky to have them in my class. And that was it. No difference, like bachelor and master's. Books were a little bit different, but the same shit.
No, but the network is the key.
Yes. So if you are going for university, focus on a network. Wherever you're going, in Oxford, Harvard, Cambridge, any university, just go for the network. And besides the guys who are doing doctors, please learn whatever you are learning. It matters. So, here's the question. Do your workers have diploma? Are you actually looking for diploma, or what are you looking at?
I'm of course, first of all, I'm not looking. I'm always looking at skill, but usually people have diplomas also. Mm-hmm. Some more, some less. But no, I never go diploma first. I mean, I've done it. I think I've done it once when I hired diploma first, and it didn't give the results that I expected. So I was checking like, okay, Gen Z, really good university, but actually there wasn't strong experience behind. Education is still super important. But yeah, it's just the perspective of the diploma and your what you actually want to do and where's your passion. If diploma and passion are in the same place, then it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that you raised really important topic, because let's say you cannot become a doctor and you can be a street smart doctor, right? So it can be illegal. Yeah. First of all, but if I compare where I should invest money in my education and bachelor's degree, or should I invest this money in the business, I would rather go invest in business and learn from all the fucking mistakes I'm going to do there.
Well, yeah, of course there are business schools, but if I have masters in being a good CEO, but I never been CEO, so what are we talking here?
Exactly.
So this is, something you can't actually study.
Yeah.
You can read, 100 business books, but what you're going to do with this knowledge? Nothing. I mean, I'm reading business books.
I know.
But still, it has to be, two things at the same time, this everyday practical reality and then books on top of that.
Yeah. What was the last best business book you read?
Well, it is now a little bit cheesy answer. It kind of is the father of all business books.
Okay.
So it's this how to win friends and influence people.
I was thinking exactly about it.
Yeah.
Carnegie.
Yes.
Best book.
And I was like blown away. It was written in 30s.
Exactly.
It was written in 30s, and I had like so many thoughts like, how can it be good? And then I was, I didn't actually read it. I listened to audiobook.
Same here.
So and I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, I was so arrogant again. And there are like so many basics that I just took like not step back, like 10 steps back, and just reevaluate like so many things that I'm actually doing wrong. But the one thing, why it really works, that at that time people just had time.
Yeah.
They had to write their letters to their business partners with hand.
Yeah.
The time flow was different.
Yeah.
So I was stuck when I was reading listening that, then I was thinking that how can I can't ignore that we have digital society. So how can I bring these really old school basic values and now convert them with emails, ChatGPT, all this fast communication, and there are many, many, many things to learn. So I really recommend people that this is like crazy good.
+1 from me. I mean, I listened to the audiobook last year or maybe before, but I never ever thought before that I could be influenced by book written 100 years ago that much, because I was mostly reading everything like from at least this decade or the previous one,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah
And the basics and the wisdom they have gained in this book, it's spectacular. So I'm really happy that we're on the same page there.
Yeah. But also another example that like when I talked that my background is heavily in arts. So one of the really famous producer that I really admire, Rick Rubin,
Okay.
just published a book last year, and it's called A Creative Act.
Okay.
So if some of our listeners have this approach that that they are artists. So in a way, I consider myself also an artist. But at one point, I just realized that I just never don't have any money. And I was like, okay, I don't want to live like that anymore. So, but this doesn't mean that you have to say no to your creative part.
Yeah.
And this Rick Rubin and all this network that he has, they're like massively successful. So this book really shows people that you can actually combine creative act and business and take the best from the both worlds. So this is another good book that I recently listened.
Yeah. As about the audiobooks. So I think that was one of the game changers in my life when I actually started to listen to audiobooks, because I always struggle to find time to actually sit down and read the book. And sometimes at night when I go to bed, I'm so tired, man, that I don't have this 10 minutes to just pages. And the audiobook just helped me to get this life hack while you are going to work or just walking or sightseeing. You can actually listen to the book, and if you do it like 20 minutes a day, then you do
especially having this long flights with plane, this is really good, because I don't really want to watch these stupid movies and download, not like binge watch some whatever series. So when I'm flying, I'm mostly always listening audiobooks, but sometimes still I take physical books, but at least at this point of my life, I decided that when I buy physical book, then it's like classical literature, or something of poetry, or business books. I'm going full audio. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, I really struggle reading fast because of lack of time, like priorities, let's say. Because last time I bought the book was the 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, and the guy who wrote the Homo sapiens, I forgot the name. I'm really bad with the names.
Yeah.
And I'm reading this book already for like 6 months, and I'm barely in a half.
Mm-hmm.
But with audiobooks, I mean, it's almost like 2 to 3 books a month. So it's like it's getting way, way faster.
And with many audiobooks, what I really like that actually the author is actually narrating the book. So then I get this human emotional approach that, hey, you were actually writing this book and now you're like just reading this for me like a bedtime story. It's like, what a privilege to have that. So this is also good.
Let's tell to our listeners top 3 business books which we read, and you go first.
I really respect this Andreessen Horowitz VC.
Yep.
So yeah, the Ben Horowitz has written some amazing books.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I will tell you the answer in a future podcasts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep it the same way.
Yeah.
What comes first in my mind is definitely Daniel Carnegie would be probably top 3. Maybe Simon Sinek, Start With Why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like 10 years old, maybe more. And then Body Language by Barbara and her husband. It's about how you identify the thoughts of your opponent with body language. In business, it helps a lot, because how it works, you understand information through body language. So when you send out the email, you just get 1/10 of the information that you actually want to communicate. And that's why it's important to meet in person. And that's why you actually close more deals when you meet someone in person.
Yeah.
Dear listeners and watchers, please subscribe to our podcast, and please comment and ask who you want to see in our next podcast. What do you want us to talk about, so we can bring more people and ask the proper questions that you're interested in. Thanks for watching Entrepreneur's Diary, episode 4 with Valerian Gegidze and my great guest Ingmar Casser. See you next time. Bye.
Ciao.